just into our 10th day at sea. We left from Fort Lauderdale, set around the Bahamas, north of Bermuda, and we are somewhere up in here. Our destination is across here in the Azores. So we're getting close-ish to the halfway point. We'd expected it to be a 20-day voyage. We're just starting day 10. So based on distance and time, it sounds reasonable. My name is Phil, and I have medically controlled post-traumatic epilepsy. I'm taking one more step towards living a fuller life by sailing the oceans of the world. Follow the Sail for Epilepsy voyage, and I invite you to consider, is there something you can do that you haven't done before, with the necessary guardrails in place? During these 10 days, there have been some great events. I'll talk about different groups of events. First, wildlife. It's quite wonderful. You're sitting down, relaxing, and suddenly there's the dolphin cry. Everyone jumps up immediately, and we're looking over the bow and watching the dolphins in their natural beauty and environment, surfing along on the bowway of the boat. In addition to dolphins, we've seen Portuguese men of war. And for those of you who want to do math, we're seeing a Portuguese man of war about every 30 seconds when the boat is going 7 knots. So if you can calculate what the density of Portuguese men of war per nautical mile is, please let us know. We've seen lots of birds. In fact, we had one bird hitch a ride with us one night, and we had to close the doors of the boat so that, because it kept trying to get in. We think we saw a whale this morning, and our biologists on board think it was a minke whale. I was actually sleeping. Which brings me to the next topic. So we are running in shifts of 4 hours on watch, 6 hours off. And as skipper and Sail for Epilepsy and crew, I've sort of overdone it a little bit in the last few days. And yesterday I got off watch at about 8 o'clock Boston time, and I had 6 hours off. But I think I got up 6 times working with the crew, trying to navigate through to pick up some wind, and I didn't get enough sleep. So I went back into bed to take a quick nap before I was on watch, and I'm told my alarm went off. I think the rest of the crew, it was a figment of their imagination, because that alarm's really loud. But I slept through it, and they had to wake me. I eventually got up, feeling a little groggy, of course, not wanting to admit it to the crew. But when Lauren, who was on watch at the time, said, "Phil, why don't you take a nap?" I thought it was probably pretty clear that I was looking a little sleepy. So I was very happy. I had an hour and a half nap whilst I was on watch, and then Emily joined, switched out with Lauren. And then Emily looked at me and she said, "Phil, why don't you take a nap?" So I took a nap, and about another hour and a half. So 3 out of 4 hours I was napping. Then Rudy got up, and Rudy and I, he's our first mate. I transferred some of the information about what was going on other than me napping. And I went downstairs to bed, and I had another nap. 4 hours, I think. Now, a great thing that happens on a boat is the crew really comes together as one. And we have now found a new bar for crew camaraderie. I had done some washing of my clothes, and when I got up, the crew had put my washing out to dry. Little do they know, I was actually sitting downstairs watching videos. I was just waiting for them to put the laundry out. Anyway, it's much appreciated, and I'm sure they're really happy that I'm going to have clean clothes for the next 10 days. When we left Fort Lauderdale, we didn't have time to go out on a practice run. Our goal was to go out in light winds and change all of the sails and get everyone used to it. As always, preparations take longer than you expect. But so we just, we'll figure it out on the fly. But everyone's used to sail changes, but when you get on a different boat, things are rigged differently. And now it's getting to the point sail change can just happen most of the time, and it's really wonderful to see the crew come together and all figure out their roles and communicating with one another about how to move the boat forward, how to make sail changes, when to make them, and really each person is taking on their own leadership roles. Dinner's on board, as Rudy said at dinner yesterday. It's the best food he's ever had when he's been sailing. I would agree. We make a point of 6 p.m. local time is meal time. We sit in the table at the stern of the boat. We share stories. We review the day. If there have been highlights, lowlights, we discuss them all. And we always find that over dinner we seem to be laughing. Not laughing at one another, laughing with one another about some of the fun stuff's happened. This journey is not about us sailing. This journey is about us sailing for our virtual shipmates. This week we've been able to highlight one of those shipmates, Sean. And Sean is setting off on an epic adventure in the Clipper race. And we're going to be sharing the information with you about the boat he's on, ways you can tap into him. Sean has epilepsy, as you may know. He's medically controlled, but he's going to be out there being a warrior, carrying the torch for us with epilepsy. We've also had one-on-one WhatsApp video calls with virtual shipmates. This is the favorite part of the program for me. This is not something, we don't discuss the content of our video calls. This is just time where virtual shipmates and I can get together and we can have a conversation. Every time I do a virtual shipmate conversation, I gain a lot of strength from the courage that these shipmates have. I'm really lucky. I have epilepsy. I'm medically controlled. I can get out and do things. There are other shipmates who have some, additional challenges. They're still fighting their disease, and I love hearing how they're doing. So any of you virtual shipmates who are in the background listening to this, share with us and understand. We don't share what you say to me unless you want us to. It's about us connecting with one another.